Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to our last episode of the Project Ramadan podcast. I have a very lovely volunteer here with us, Isha, and we are just going to have a conversation about the end of Ramadan because it is now, approaching the end here. And, as we wrap up this series, which I'm very sad that we're wrapping up, and Ramadan, of course, as well, what does Project Ramadan represent to you?
Well, thanks for having me here. This is so bittersweet.
No.
Finally reached the end. Where do I begin? Project Ramadan, it's really just about care, dignified care, being there for our community and for those in our neighborhoods in a way that is really thoughtful, reflective, and rooted in respect, dignity, and just really uplifting each other, building sustainable communities, and just being there for each other.
Yeah, that's so important. What has it taught you about community?
Honestly, I've learned so much over the past few years with Project Ramadan. I think the most important thing about community that I've learned is that community is a verb. It's an action-oriented word.
Wow, didn't know that.
Yeah. It's all about showing up consistently, being there for each other, creating reciprocal relationships that are rooted in mutual respect, in trust, in dignified care, and really just, a blend of our Islamic principles and values of being there for our neighbors, for our communities.
I love that. Yeah.
But also our Canadian values of showing up for one another.
Yeah.
And I think the work that Project Ramadan does with community is really at the intersection of those two. And it's truly a beautiful thing to see unfold.
That's a very beautiful way of saying it, right? It's that intersection between two things. It's not just, our own community. It's a Canadian community.
Exactly.
Right? And I didn't know it was a verb.
No, it's a noun, but to me it's a verb.
Oh, to you, it's a verb.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You should have prefaced.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is there like moments, over this last 30 days that has been impactful to you?
There's been so many, being at these builds, especially in more of an active role of interacting with people who come out, you meet people from so many different walks of life. There's been so many incredible people, first-time volunteers, seasoned volunteers, people who've been here long before I have, with, their own stories, their own experiences. I've had some beautiful interactions with people who almost in a way came full circle, where they learned of Project Ramadan through being recipients, through one of our beneficiaries. And they were so moved that people in the community who didn't even know them came out to these builds to help prepare food baskets to feed them and their families.
Wow. Yeah.
And then they actually come to this space and they're like, now we want to pass this forward and help another family. And
wow.
It's beautiful. And even people outside of the Muslim community who have come out to this event to really learn more about Ramadan and, how important this time of year is for Muslims and what we do during this month and why we do what we do. And it's just so beautiful, honestly.
Wow.
And just reminds us that at the end of the day, we all share that human connection. And it's a great space, great environment.
Wow. I love what you said. Like someone who was a beneficiary is now building baskets for others. Like that is
I got so emotional when they were telling me.
That just gives you so much like that what I'm doing is actually making such a significant impact on someone's life that they're coming back. And they're saying, no, I want to do the same thing.
Exactly, 100%. I feel like when we're building those baskets, we're kind of viewing it more as like a checklist. Like, okay, we need to fill these out, get these baskets filled. But it's like these efforts we're doing are actually going towards people who rely on them, people who are so touched by us helping them, even though we don't even know each other. And it's genuinely the most heartwarming thing.
Wow. So what do you think about Project Ramadan beyond Ramadan?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's so much momentum that's built during Ramadan. This is a month of heightened spirituality, of mind, body, spiritual reset. And it's a time, we try to leverage doing good, practicing gratitude, giving back, practicing empathy. And I would just really love to see that momentum continue beyond Ramadan, that we don't only be our best versions and do the most for our communities during this month, but that we continue it throughout and make this into something more sustainable, where these ecosystems we've created within our communities can continue to be resilient, that we continue to uplift these communities even outside of these 30 days.
Exactly, because it doesn't stop.
Exactly.
Food insecurity doesn't stop only at
Unfortunately
Ramadan.
not.
So, it will continue. So we got to figure out, what can we do to make this kind of
Exactly.
long lasting.
hmm
So what is that long-term vision?
Well, that's a $1 million question.
Yeah.
I think it's rooted in scaling up, but also being sustainable. Like you mentioned, unfortunately, food insecurity is not an issue that's going to disappear overnight. And the work we do is so impactful, but it
Yeah.
goes beyond providing short-term food, but creating resilient systems, empowering our communities, and
Yeah.
really just working towards a food secure future where these communities can be resilient, where they can prosper. And, with Project Ramadan, it's a bit of a twofold organization where we build baskets and distribute them through beneficiaries to communities in need, but we are also an advocacy organization raising awareness of these issues that are impacting community members, our own neighbors, and really trying to raise awareness and have our community and folks come together for collective action.
Yeah.
Because, Ramadan is not just about self-improvement, but it's social responsibility,
It
working
is.
as a collective to just really maximize the good that we do for those in need.
No, absolutely. So what would you say, like, if you had a message, right, to give to our viewers, and everybody else out there in the world about Ramadan, like, what would that be?
That I think Ramadan is the best time to really reorient your goals and the type of person you want to be and create that foundation to then continue bolstering that well beyond Ramadan and totally unbiased. But I think Project Ramadan truly is such a wholesome personification of the spirit and essence of Ramadan, of doing good just for the sake of doing good, of caring for those in need, of rooting your principles in gratitude, in empathy, in giving back. And, it's never too late to get involved if this kind of work resonates with you,
Of course.
of being on the ground, making meaningful impacts for your neighbors. It's never too late to get involved in any capacity and do your part, your responsibility to make a meaningful difference.
Within the community.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, absolutely. That is a very, very key thing. Project Ramadan is one organization. There's lots, right, that do this. But if there's one thing that Ramadan itself has taught us is let's give back, right?
Exactly.
Let's feed people that, don't have the means, right?
And when it comes to local food insecurity, I think a lot of times when it comes to more global crises, even if we don't intend to, we often do other that, we're in this region and that person's in that. But when it comes to local food insecurity, these are our neighbors. The only thing that differs recipients versus the people building the baskets is just pure luck. And I think that is something that's so integral to carry with us when we are working with these organizations on the ground, that these are your own community members, and you would hope that if you were in that position that other folks would come out to help you just as we do.
I hope that, right? Yeah. And it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, right? The organizations to get volunteers to kind of organize this big production.
Exactly. Especially as a fully run volunteer organization. Where, we are individuals, our team is filled with students, with people who work 9 to 5s. And unless you're actually in that space, you don't realize how much work goes into the pre-planning during the season. And then definitely the emotional labor of, the kind of work we're dealing with. It's very heartbreaking to see the rise in food insecurity and just the growing need of people who rely on these, the growing demands of the cost of groceries, of fundraising, and just how much support we need to really bolster these systems and take care of our own.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. A lot of beautiful words, a lot of things that I'm going to take back to. This is a perfect way to close off our podcast. So I'd like to thank you once again. And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in for the last 5 episodes that we've had. You can reach us on our social media. We have Instagram. Are we on TikTok?
We are on TikTok.
Okay, we need to be on TikTok for sure. YouTube and Facebook, we're all over. So please help support us. I know we're closing off Ramadan right now, but your donations mean a lot, right? So it does help us support, these beneficiaries. So once again, thank you so much. And we hope you enjoyed this series. Until next time, I don't know, maybe next year, we'll see you guys again. Thank you.